Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. So I've been teasing in some of my other videos that we are moving house soon, and so I wanted to make a whole video on the topic of like, why are we moving? How? Who, what, where, when, why? Essentially just diving into all of the details and the process so far. I'm very nervous about it. I'm currently filming this when nothing is like set in stone. Like we haven't exchanged contracts or anything yet, and I'm nervous that by talking about this it's gonna jinx the whole thing. But it shouldn't unless something like goes horribly wrong. Like everything is moving forward and it's all okay. Okay, breathe, Hannah. So yeah, I want to share a little bit about this whole process and thing that's just been happening in our lives behind the scenes. And I also have some questions from my patrons about the whole moving process and some thoughtful, interesting questions. But yeah, let's just dive in. So the why. Why are we moving? If you've seen the 2-bedroom flat tour with a baby video, you will see that we just need more space. Rowan has like taken over every single room. We were always planning on moving at some point, and it is happening now. But essentially we are upsizing and we are buying a 3-bedroom terraced house. A house, oh my God, a house. So you may recall from some of my previous videos, I mentioned that our current mortgage on the flat, the fixed rate on that expires in September 2023. Now, mortgage terminology. I mean, this video is going to be like really hot and spicy for people who love talking about moving and mortgages and things. I'm in my 30s now. This is what we chat about here. But for those who don't know, a fixed rate is basically a fixed interest rate on what you pay on your mortgage, and you can get like a 2-year fixed or 3 or 5 or 10, and essentially then you're like locked into that interest rate. And then when it expires, then you can either get a new like mortgage and with a new interest rate, or you go into a variable rate, and that means that the interest that you're paying back on your mortgage every month fluctuates with what is happening in the market and the interest in the market, which, as you can imagine, in the UK right now, if anybody out there is on a variable rate mortgage, oh my God, I'm sorry, that must be hard right now. So our fixed rate expires next year. So why are we trying to move now? Because also if you try and move or pay off like your mortgage before your fixed rate ends, then you have to like pay extra fees or whatever, blah, 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 blah. This is why we're doing what we're doing. Also, this isn't financial advice, just so we're clear. So because a lot of stuff is up in the air right now in the UK in terms of the mortgage rates and the market, we talked to our mortgage advisor and we're just like, okay, so if we are going to be looking to move September next year, when should we start looking? Also, like, what the hell are interest rates going to look like then? Like, who knows? Like, because everyone's just saying it's just going up and up and up and up. And this was originally just meant to be like an inquiry conversation, just be like, hey, can we just get a sense of like when we should start seriously looking and like what's going on in the market? Can you give us some advice or just some insight? That would be great, thanks. And essentially, the outcome of that conversation was, hey, no harm in actually seriously looking now. And if you find something you want to buy, then we can go full steam ahead and try and get you a mortgage and you can move. And the reasoning behind that essentially was, if we try to move now, we'll be in a better position to get a mortgage than we would next year because of my job. And it's basically because my accounts look really good to a bank right now because my accounts are pretty normal. Like my business has been making money, I've been paying myself my salary, all of that. Not this year though. I took 3 months off maternity leave and now I'm working part-time, and that's definitely had an impact on my business and on my business's income. And so if I was applying for a mortgage next year, the banks might be like, what's going on here? You didn't make as much money last year as you did the years before. So if we apply now, then we can avoid having that whole awkward conversation with the banks, and maybe they wouldn't lend us the money that we need to upsize. So that was one big consideration. And then the other was, they were like, you always have the option to port your mortgage, which means we wouldn't have to pay like the early repayment charges if we stuck with the same bank, which means that you're less flexible in terms of like what different interest rates are on offer, but it means that we don't have to pay the fee of moving before our fixed rate is up. This is so boring, but I swear to God, I have so many conversations with friends about mortgage and taxes, and we're just like, how have we got here? How have we been talking about this for an hour? Anyway, maybe you find this really interesting. So even before this whole conversation with the mortgage advisor, I have been browsing on Zoopla and Rightmove all of the time. Like all of those hours spent awake in the middle of the night breastfeeding Rowan, I'll just be there, just like scrolling, saving different properties, just really getting a sense of the area and the market and what we can get for like what kind of price. Like I felt so knowledgeable. And so when our mortgage advisor was like, hey, there's no harm in looking, and actually you might be in a better position to start looking now, I was like, I'm in. I've got my list. I've got my saved properties. Okay, let's go. And so that's what happened. So the process so far. First of all, obviously, I created a Notion database. That's not a lie. I created a Notion database of all of the different properties and the different kind of like criteria that we were looking for so that we could like filter it and I could share it with Dan. And that was like an easier way for him to see the properties that I was collecting than by just like sending him links and stuff. So this was our criteria. We wanted 3 good-sized bedrooms, ideally all doubles. Potential for me to have a home office and studio. Spoiler alert, I've handed in my notice on this studio. Oh my God, it's all happening. A big kitchen, or at least the potential for a big kitchen, because we are a very like foodie, cookie, and Dan is a very chefy kind of person, and we center a lot of our like family life around the kitchen and cooking. A bit of a garden, an outdoor space, because we have a baby and he's going to be walking and running at some point, and wanting that outdoor space would be lovely. And then we wanted to stay local to where we are. We wanted to be in walking distance from the tube. And some of the reasons why we wanted to stay where we are instead of maybe being able to get somewhere bigger or something cheaper, like a bit further out, was because we really like the area. It's got good schools. Can't believe that's something that I'm considering. It's close to Rowan's childminder and he has settled in really well there and really likes the other kids and the staff there. And so, you know, having to change all of that and settle him in somewhere new, just bleh. And then also we have our network of like local parent friends, and the idea of having to start from scratch with making friends and finding like a group of people at a similar life stage as me, I just stress. No, I feel like we've got our hub and we've got our people and I want to keep it. So Dan and I think, are quite decisive people. We actually only ended up viewing 3 properties, and the third one that we viewed, we put in an offer and it was accepted. And so yeah, it all kind of happened quite quickly from just that initial conversation of like, oh, I might as well start looking, to like, okay, shit, we're buying a house now, fuck. The first one that we looked at was really big, but a weird shape. Also, it was decorated and like looked fairly new, but just not to our style or taste at all. And it had like a very small concrete garden, and it had a very small like odd shaped kitchen and this weird add-on conservatory that was just like gross and you just want to remove anyway. And it was a bit too far away from the local amenities. Like you would need to probably get like a 5-10 minute bus to the tube. So that was a no-go. The second one was massive. I think this one was like 4 bedrooms. It was beautiful, it was quirky, like all of the decoration that the current owners had done was like so colourful, like all of the rooms are a different, really bright colour. It was right at the top end of our budget, as in if we had bought that house, we would have had no cash left over to do any work on the property. And you couldn't tell from the listing, but when we went to view it and we were looking around, it was like, oh, this place is crumbling, it is falling apart, it needs so much work. So that was just a no-go because of cost. Otherwise, I think it would have been great because it was gorgeous, it was massive, it was such a cool house, but we could not afford. And then the third one, the one, fingers crossed, touch wood, and all of that we will be moving into was a decent size, has a lot of potential. That's what they say about properties, isn't it? It's got lots of potential, but it is livable in now. Like, it doesn't require a lot of work, and we can just move in, even if a lot of it isn't to our taste necessarily. It functions, it works, we can live there. And with my extensive knowledge of the local market, because the amount of hours I'd spent on Zoopla and Rightmove, it was like a really good price for what it is and the location and all of that. And weirdly enough, I think this is some like weird subconscious thing, but the layout of it is pretty much identical, and also like just a weird specific feature to the house that I grew up in from the age of like 1 to 10 years old. And fair enough, like, there are Victorian terraces all over England, and so it's not uncommon that houses have the same layout and stuff. But I don't know, I still find it funny that I looked around it and was like, oh, I can picture myself living here. But maybe it's like my childhood subconscious of like, this was my family home when I was a little kid, and so I could very easily like picture my family and my little kids like growing up in there. I don't know. I love it anyway. I love that it looks like my old house or has like a similar layout to it. So we actually had that viewing of that place on the 10th of September. So what, it's been like October, November, December. Oh shit, it's only been 3 months. I think in the grand scheme of things are probably going quite fast, but who knows? It's not over yet. So there could be some more bumps in the road, who knows? But because we weren't like super seriously looking, we were still just kind of like, let's just see, let's just have a look. And then we saw this place and we were like, oh my God, this is it. We can so see ourselves living here. We own the flat that we currently live in. And then once that offer was accepted on the house, we were like, shit, we need to get our flat on the market ASAP. So that was a bit of a mad rush, but luckily that all went fairly smoothly. We had a couple of viewings and an offer that we accepted. And all of this was also happening during the time that Liz Truss was destroying the economy. Oh my God. It was very stressful. But also, I'm just so grateful as well. Like, it could have gone completely tits up. A lot of people are having a really shit time because of what her and Tories before her have done over the last 10 years. And so I'm just like, I'm so grateful that, touch wood, that we're in a position where we're able to sell our house or our flat and move into this house. Fingers crossed, fingers crossed. But it has been a bit of a wild ride. Like, everything has just been happening so quickly, just with this backdrop of the economy crumbling around us. And so it's been quite stressful. But now things are just ticking along. Mortgages, surveys, inquiries, all of the back and forth with the solicitors, although I am obsessed with our solicitors, and shout out to one of my patrons who actually recommended them, because no one has a good thing to say about their solicitors who like dealt with their house move or their mortgage or, you know, all of that. The last solicitors that we used, you know, they got the job done, but I don't have anything like particularly good or bad to say about them. And I posted in the Discord server just like, oh, does anyone have any recommendations? And this person was like raving about them, like, these people were amazing. And I was like, who like loves their solicitors? This doesn't make any sense. So I checked them out, and yes, I'm obsessed. They have this like whole online portal and like a color-coded like progress wheel, so you can see where you're up to in the process and all of the like tiny steps involved. And they send you like a weekly update every week on like where things are at. All solicitors be like this. Amazing. Amazing. Not spawned by them at all, but I'll leave a link to them in the description if you are looking for solicitors to do your house move. Would recommend. So we are so close. We are like almost at the end of all of the like back and forth with the solicitors and the buyers and the sellers and all of that. At one point we were like, are we going to be moving before Christmas? Because Dan and I are hosting Christmas this year, and we're like, are we going to be hosting in the flat? Are we going to be hosting in the house? Who knows? It's looking like we'll be hosting Christmas in the flat, and hopefully, fingers crossed, touch wood, we will be moving in January, early next year. I don't know. But yeah, that's gonna be absolute chaos with a baby. I don't really know what to expect, to be honest, but we'll definitely be vlogging the process. And I say definitely vlogging the process, maybe vlogging the process, because it might just be too much to try and pick up a camera at the same time, but I intend to, I would like to. Okay, so I've been kind of talking a little bit about the house move in my Patreon Discord server, and I asked for some of their questions, and so let's dive into those. What are the differences between buying your first home versus your second? Is anything much easier, or are some things harder? I think this entire process is probably harder because we're not just buying, but we're also selling, so that like adds a whole other process on top of just the buying. It's easier in a sense that I know what to expect. Like, I understand the language of mortgages, and I understand the language of like solicitors and moving and like the whole home buying process. So it's less of a learning curve. Although I will say there is a massive difference between buying a new build flat versus a old Victorian terrace. So there's more learning curves in that sense of like understanding like the surveys and like what's going on in the house, and you know, a house that's been previously lived in. Like, we were the first people to live in the flat that we currently live in. So it's a bit of a mix. I would say there's definitely like more work involved this time round, but I feel better equipped to handle it. What's the impact of having a kid on the whole process? Specifically thinking about packing. Oh my God, I've not even got that far yet. I tend to use moves as an opportunity to declutter and get rid of clothes and stuff that's hard to move that I don't need anymore. So how are you thinking about that with Rowan and all of his things? Yeah, I think we aren't going to get rid of anything just yet because we would like to have another child. So it is a case of like a lot of the stuff that he has outgrown or doesn't use anymore, like we will still be taking with us. But generally, like the impact of having a kid, like Rowan came to all of the viewings with us. And in terms of the actual move, we are just going to be calling in all of the favors from family. It's just like parents, grandparents, all of that. Like, there'll be days when Rowan's at his childminders, and so we can get a lot of stuff done. Dan is planning on taking like a week or two off work so that like we can really get this move just like nailed and done. I don't know what I'm going to do about my work, to be honest. I probably will have to take some time off, but we don't have a moving date yet. So we will cross that bridge when we get to it. But luckily, we've got lots of family who are more than keen to help either with the move or being babysitters. So it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. Okay, things you prioritize as important / not important when looking, e.g. rooms, layout, location, local amenities, public transport, etc. So we'd already decided that the like public transport and local amenities thing was important to us. Like I said about our local area that we live in, we really love it and just so convenient. In terms of the other things, it was just, you know, it was just all about the potential. But I think one of the big priorities for us was 3 good sized bedrooms, because there are so many houses where you could have like 2 double rooms and then a box room. And we were like, no, if it's going to be a 3rd bedroom box room, we are not interested. And luckily the place that we found is 3 double bedrooms. Very exciting. And then it also has a loft that is like ready to be converted, and that will become my future office / studio. So the rooms thing was definitely a big shout for us, and a lot of it is about vibe, like walking in and just being like, can I picture myself living here? Like how you move about the space, and like can I see, you know, like how we actually like would live and exist in the space. And the big kitchen, or like a usable, sociable kitchen area. How you feel about buying a house in these uncertain economic times, as in upsizing. Not gonna lie, it has definitely been stressful. There have been moments of just like, oh my God, are we complete idiots? Like, what's going on? I swear every other week I see people on social media being like, there's going to be a housing market crash, and I'm having to like literally just be like, do not listen to it. Like, these people don't know what they're talking about. In our heads, the way that we think about it is that this new house that we're going to move into, we are planning on staying there for at least 10 years. And the thing is that we cannot have another kid in the flat that we currently live in. There is just like not the space for it at all. If whatever, there is going to be a housing market crash, we would rather experience that housing market crash in a house that is big enough to fit our whole family, and one that we are planning on staying in for a really long time, so that we can kind of like just weather the storm. Just like, I guess we'll just stay put here until things get better, who knows? Whereas if we were in the flat when the market crashes, if the market crashes, that would be a really fucking shit position to be in. We would be very screwed. That is my understanding. Again, not financial advice, please don't listen to me, but that's kind of like my understanding of, yes, it's uncertain times, but it is really important for us to like make this move now and as quickly as possible. But it has been very stressful. Okay, and then this question, mezuzah, question mark, why not? Give me thoughts, because we were given one and I don't know. To be honest, I hadn't even considered it until you asked this question. And now I'm also asking myself this question, like, to mezuzah or not to mezuzah? For those who don't know, mezuzah is like a little container of a scroll of the Jewish Lord's Prayer. Honestly, I don't know. And it goes on the right-hand side of your door of like a Jewish household. And I've always had one. My parents' house, there's a mezuzah there. I can recite most of it. No, not most of it. Some of it, because we used to do it in Cheder all the time. It's like, Shema Israel Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kavod Mechato Le'elam Va'ed. Anyway, that's what's written on this scroll that's in the mezuzah. Do I know what it says? Do I know what it means? No. Do I care? No. Is there a part of me that is like, oh yeah, we're a Jewish household, so I want to stick a mezuzah in the door? Yeah. Is there also a part of me that's like, oh my God, no, I don't want people to know it's a Jewish household? But you won't have seen this video yet. This is in your future, but it was in my past. Chatted to David Baddiel about being Jewish, and the kind of fear around people knowing you're Jewish came up. And he talked about how we can't live like that and have that fear, and actually we need to work from a position of like visibility. So that's now got me thinking about the whole mezuzah thing in a different way. Anyway, I only have questions. I'm really sorry. Because I also don't know. I also think that Dan wouldn't want a mezuzah, and I'm on the fence about it. So it probably would be a case that we don't have one unless my mum gives us a mezuzah, or any of my other Jewish family like gives us a mezuzah as a housewarming gift. Then maybe, I don't know. I don't know. Sorry, that is not helpful at all. All right, thank you for watching. Thank you to my patrons for those lovely questions. If you have more questions about this whole process, then you can leave them in the comments and I'll try and get back to you. Or also, there will definitely be more videos about this whole process. So if you do leave your questions or like things you want me to talk about or share, then let me know and I will try and do that. Anybody else moving house in these uncertain economic times and also having a big stress over it? Thank you so much for watching. So after this video, instead of having to wait a whole week for another More Hannah video, we have Vlognica, which is starting on Sunday, the 18th of December, and there will be 8 videos for the 8 days of Hanukkah. So, you know, it'll take you up through Christmas time. So lots of content for you to be watching. You're welcome. I hope that you're well. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on Vlognica, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.